Welcome back to Basketball on Figueroa, the only podcast breaking down everything happening with the Lakers, Clippers, and Sparks. I'm your host, Edwin Garcia, and joining me today, per usual, is Dar E.N. Viziri, a.k.a. Dime Dropper. Dime, how you doing, man?
Doing well, Edwin. Feeling pretty festive. Happy holidays. Hope you had a good Christmas. I know you definitely had a great Christmas with that Austin Reaves game winner. We'll be talking about that and more. Probably talking a little bit about the Christmas slate of games because there aren't too many games to talk about. But yeah, how's your Christmas? Did anything special?
Let me show you how my Christmas was.
A lot of work.
This how it's going, baby. This is how it's going. All right, we got the Lakers tumbler. You can hear the ice in there. Don't worry what's in there. There's a little ice in there, you know. We got the Santa hat on. We got the shades on at night. You know why? Because the Golden State Warriors are who I thought they're the geatric ones. What if we're Prince and they're Michael? That's what's happening. They're done. They're washed. They can talk about 5 and it's over. It's over. It's been over. It's been over. It's been over. Curry's going to get 30, 40, 50, 57, 43, and you're still going to be a playing team because you don't have the depth. You have a bunch of Mustangs and you need a Ferrari. You don't have the stars anymore. If it wasn't for KD, LeBron would already have had 5. That's how great he is. You were the ones who had to team up. You were the ones who had to team up to try to get it done. And congrats, you got it. But once he left, your legacy left with it. Thank you for beating the Celtics because I hate the Celtics. But like I said, you're the one I need to accept cookies for you. You are the cookies. And here I am with my milk that's not milk, sipping on my victory. Because while we are not that much better, we ain't as bad as you, baby.
I really loved it until you started using the LeBron propaganda in there like you were LeBron stan, talking about the team up. Who teamed up first? Let's really recite the facts. But with the Miami Heat.
He teamed up first, but again, they teamed up as well. So
yes.
And after 73, and we don't gotta get. And I love KD.
Yeah,
I'm not really. You know, I love KD. I love all of them actually. I love all of them. They're all great.
I don't.
But, no, I do. I love all 3 of them. But you know, the stan culture. You know how the main reason.
All 3.
Yeah. KD, Steph, and LeBron. Yeah, all 3.
Oh, okay. They're talking about Clay, Draymond. Yeah.
Oh, I mean, I do like all 3 of those guys too. But you know, I never checked Clay at a restaurant before. But you know, that's another story for another day.
Yeah.
But it was great. It was great, Dime. Like,
let's talk about it.
I'm not the biggest Laker Warriors. I'm more focused on my team. Like, my team's already got plenty of problems that we got to fix. Like, we're not even at a point where we can do that stuff right now. So we got to get wins. We got to get consistency. We got some depth issues, you know, all that kind of stuff. But man, it just sometimes when you beat that team, it's like, yes, I'm so glad we didn't have D'Lo. AD went down. You know, it's Christmas. Everyone's watching. And what are they watching? Yes. I mean, I was a hater yesterday. I jumped on all the spaces. I was listening to everybody. I'm like, oh, complain about Kerr, cry about your situation. I want to hear all your trade scenarios. I'm going to fix something that's not fixable. Like, let me hear it. I loved it. I ate it like a pack of relish on a hot dog, bro. I was just delicious. I was drinking those tears. I drank so much I was dehydrated. I had to drink again to offset the drinking I was doing. It was amazing. And I wasn't expecting that. I was just trying to watch, you know, don't embarrass us and like maybe win. But oh man, seeing Curry go off and Austin Reaves, you know, everybody always wants a script. They want it to be LeBron, even though they talk about, you know, not wanting us, making it all about himself and all this other stuff. They always want it to be him. But again, it's about the basketball. And also Draymond was like hugging him and clearly following him, but that's another story on that play. But anyway, Reaves just made an incredible play, one-on-one, drove to the basket. Shout out to Kuminga, I don't know why he was guarding Rui so far away from the court even. He was like 3 feet out. He was bear hugging him. And yeah, Austin did a great job. Dalton Connect had a good game that goes in the rated. Christie was doing his thing. Of course, LeBron was doing his thing, but it was a team effort, especially with AD going down. You know, I was like, man, it's going to be rough, right? And, you know, they found a way. Again, it's just one game. It's one moment. And sometimes I think the AD going out, it's not a blessing, but I think it made Kerr kind of move differently, and that might have helped a little bit, just giving them enough of a chance to kind of stay in it, compete in it, and then lo and behold, they were able to get the win. So it was a great win. It was fantastic, and of course, that's what everyone wants to talk about. Everyone, LeBron said it, kind of jokingly, like, what's still good about the NBA? LeBron and Steph, right? And those guys going at it. And I mean, the ratings for everyone caring about that stuff, like, they were higher than they've been in 5 years, and people loved watching that game. They love watching those two go at each other, even when, one's a 6 seed and one's a 9 seed, and it's like, what are we doing? But they love it, and I loved watching it again, and it was fun to see the Lakers kind of get that win in a season that's been so up and down.
Yeah, there was I think the defense is what stuck out to me the last couple of games from the Lakers. You mentioned Max Christie, Cam Reddish, and Gabe Vincent were very good defensively in this game. I thought you guys were. I did a playback last night, so this is my first time talking about it on the channel. But for those that are wondering, and if you watch this years from now or months from now, I did a playback on this game for the first time, trying to break down the film. And I think the Lakers are really sharp with their switching. But you mentioned AD going down. LeBron was just unbelievable. I think it was one of his better games of the season. Both ends of the floor, passing the ball, made big plays. That three he made from the top of the key on that pick and pop in the fourth quarter was massive. And he had 31 points, 10 assists on 12 for 22 shooting, and 2 for 4 from three, and 5 for 5 from the line to seal the win. What a performance by the old man, huh?
Yeah, I mean, it was incredible. He's been, again, after that little break he had, those 2 games off, he's been so much more engaged on both sides of the court. I don't know if he just needed that rest to kind of reset, if, it really helped to get off of it, or just, hey, take a second, step away, and, like, let's go get it. And since that, he's been a different player. And that's kind of why I never really worried about him, quote unquote. I know you didn't really. You were just like, hey, he's got to give you more. And, like, where's that going to come from? But this is why I didn't worry. I know who he is. He's been who he is. He hasn't shown a drop off. He just needs to bring that focus. And if a little time off that foot, or even just a little bit away from the game for a moment after a summer where he was, playing high level basketball, for Team USA, got a 2 games off here, almost a full week, and he's been roaring ever since. So it's been awesome. Someone check the cup. Don't worry about the cup. It's fine. So yeah, that's kind of my comments on LeBron. He's really been sharp, and unfortunately, they need that from him. Like, if he's not at that level, this team's kind of, again, still barely getting these wins. So they need him to be at that level right now if they want to, be consistently good.
And Rui Hachimura also had a very solid performance. 18 points on 50% shooting, 6 for 12, and how about 5 for 7 from 3? He hit a third of your threes. And he's been pretty solid, just getting double-figure points each game. You know what I'm saying? But defensively, he still has his moments. He still has those moments of missing the open man, having some, a little bit of tunnel vision. But Max Christie, 16 points, and elite defense. Austin Reaves, you talk about the big shot. You didn't even mention triple-double, I don't think. 26,
triple-double.
26, 10, and 10 for Austin Reaves on 8 for 20 shooting and 4 for 10 from 3. And then you mentioned Dalton, double-digit points off the bench. But I think the one stat that really sticks out for me with the Lakers in this game, low turnover, just 9 turnovers, which is huge in a road game like that. And 18 for 18 from the line, Edwin. When was the last time Lakers shot 100% from the line?
Yeah, I'd be surprised if they have it all this year. It's been rough. AD's had a lot of struggles with that. We know the game where it essentially cost them the game down the stretch. There's been a couple other games, and he's not the only one. There's some games where Reaves even struggled, or Rui had missed a few, or LeBron missed a few. So yeah, 18 for 18, and they needed all of them, right? Like, this game, make no mistake about it, it came down to the wire, and they were able to execute just a little bit better. Plus, they already had the cushion. Like, Curry had to try to, like, rock and sock him and rally back. That 3 he hit over LeBron, to me, that was the most impressive one, even more than, like, that 50-footer or whatever that was to tie it, because he had no room. Everybody knew what he was going to do. He passed it, went to the corner, shot it, and, like, nobody could stop it. Like, Christie couldn't fight over, and LeBron tried to close out without fouling. They defended that pretty well, and he still just hit it. And then the big one he hit afterwards, I feel like that was fine. He was way out. People were like, how do you leave him open? I'm like, dude, he's almost at the logo. Like, I mean,
Also, it's tough. You're talking about the Steph shot?
The tie, yeah. I feel like I wasn't mad about that, because he came, Reaves got bulldozed, and then that was so far out.
That was a legal screen. We watched the tape. That was not a legal screen.
No, but in a game like this, that stuff's not
Yeah,
going to be called, last
exactly.
minute. Like, and he hit a 50-footer. So, yeah, that was not everything Draymond did in the final 2 minutes was elite. The
He
whole
al-
thing.
he also just wasn't good. Like Lakers were just there
No,
were so
bro.
many guys in the Warriors. Lakers just letting shoot.
Yeah. Yeah. And
But
that's the issue does that too.
any other Christmas games? Like, by the way, that's 3 out of the last 4 wins for the Lakers, correct?
Yeah. 3 of the last 4, because they had a 3-game winning streak. Well, actually, they had a
No,
2-game.
4 out of the
No,
last
4 of the last
5.
5. Yeah, 4 of the last 5. 'Cause they had a 3-game winning streak, lost to Detroit, which we'll talk about later, and then they won this one. So 4 out of 5. So looking pretty good. They're starting to kind of balance out a little bit, which I'm excited about. When it comes to the other Christmas games, I think
Yeah.
the Knicks one was really fun. That's one that I kind of watched a big chunk of. And of course, I love watching the Celtics lose. And at this point, unfortunately, I don't get too many of those. So the fact that it happened on a big stage, like I don't think it means anything, but it means that it was a little happier for me watching the Celtics, fans. I saw that Celtics fan in the Grinch costume looking all sad, and I was like, yeah, this is what the holiday spirit's all about.
Best win of the season for the Philadelphia 76ers. And it really all begins with Joel Embiid, man. Like when he's healthy and he's playing at his best, 27 points, 9 rebounds, but the way he was doing it, mixture of threes, mid-range, and getting to the foul line. Like that's when he's at his best. And then Maxey, virtuoso performance, 33, 4, and 12 assists to go along with 3 steals and a block. Thought he played really good defense. And then the outlier was Caleb Martin. He's been struggling massively from 3, and he went 7 for 9 from 3. I don't know what it is about Boston, but Caleb Martin against them, he's somehow just the most. They get the most out of him. And then there is podcast P over there. He's struggling with his shot massively, but he did help. And the thing about Paul George is he's just another star that people treat like a star. And he's 6'8". So even when he's having like those not great effort defensive games, like the floor of Paul George as a defender would still help the Lakers. Like the worst Paul George that goes 4 for 15 would be a great addition to the Lakers. Just because he can, but I still wouldn't pay the money that Philly's paying for him. You know what I'm saying? Like all things considered, this is looking awful, Edwin. He's averaging 15 points a game, 15.9 points a game, and I think he's going to get that up. But what if he does average less than 20 points this season? And he just got paid
I think it's disappointment.
$50 million. I mean, it's insane. So we knew that Philly did bad business, but they are starting to pick it up a little bit. And as far as the Knicks game, man, actually that's the only game I didn't watch.
Yeah, no, I mean, what I really like about I think the Knicks are an interesting team. They, at first with the trade and everything, people were like, oh, big mistake. Why would you mix up the chemistry and all that kind of stuff? And now I think you're starting to see them kind of come together. Things are kind of starting to work together. You still have a coach there in Tibbs who's kind of just playing like really a 7-man rotation in this game, which was pretty rough. But, I think they got some really good performances. They got 20 plus points from Cat and from Brunson. They got the 40 piece from Bridges, who again, like making those kind of trades and going for it. This is why you go for it, to have that kind of firepower. He won't do that every night, of course, but he did it in a big night, especially when, they had, Wembanyama on the other side was just absolutely, making a statement himself, scoring 42, 18 rebounds. He was very aggressive from the jump. So they really needed that to kind of combat it. And they were able to, kind of get it done in the end there. And I think it was just, I'm still high on the Knicks. I think a lot of people are kind of just thinking, oh, the Celtics are going to run away with it. And they very well may do that. But you got to remember, that Knicks team last year was pretty banged up. That's why they didn't advance. That's part of it. But I think this team might be playoffs better than that version of that they were last year. And now they got Bridges, got Cat. Like, don't sleep on them. They're going to be they're kind of getting it together. I think this game was an example of that. And I got my eye on New York and seeing how they do as we get into kind of closer to the halftime of the season here.
Yeah, they're 20-10. Cat's having the best season of his career for me, and that was definitely Mikal Bridges' best game as a member of the New York Knicks so far. So, yeah, very good win there. That's all. I didn't watch that game, so that's all I can really say about that. Also, how funny is it, Edwin, that both LA teams do 30 games of the exact same record of 17-13?
That's crazy. I would not have predicted that. I would at least say someone was higher. I would probably
think. I think no. If you had told me the Lakers are going to be 17-13, I would have said that sounds about right. If you told me the Clippers wouldn't have Kawhi one game, we were 17-13, I would have been like, "Yo, like what's happening?"
Yeah, who did we trade for?
Yeah, who do we trade for exactly? But Norman Powell is doing his Norman Powell thing. But any other Christmas games you want to talk about, or should we segue into the regularly scheduled program?
Let's go into these Clipper games. We have two. We're going to start from the beginning of the week. We had Clippers Mavs 2 games, and they split that series. Dime 118-95. The Clippers won that matchup, and the other one 113-97. It went the other way. How do you want to do it? You want to talk about the 2 games as a whole? You want to go with the win and the loss? I'm gonna leave it to you how you want to kind of handle the Clippers Mavs matchups.
Oh, I mean, I've went live to talk about these games, so I'll keep it brief. But the first game we didn't play against Kyrie or Luca, and we just took care of business. No Luca, no Kyrie. Go in there, take care of business. What's funny is that they made it a close game for a lot of it. Like, it was actually a more neck and neck game than you would think. But Norman Powell, 29 points, 7 rebounds, 5 assists, 3 steals on 10 for 19 shooting, and 4 for 8 from 3. He just continues to be insanely efficient. You get 16 points off the bench on 70% from the field and 50% from 3 from the Brewmaster. And then Zoo with 21, 15, and 5 to go along with 2 steals on 10 for 13 shooting. And then James Harden, 24, 4, and 7. So when you get your big 3 playing well, you don't have to defend the elite players that are Luka and Kyrie Irving. That's a W. And then the next one, Kyrie played and we lost. But you want me to tell you, like, why we lost, besides the fact that, yeah, Kyrie was great. I think our defense wasn't quite up to par, but for me, it was mainly our offense. We didn't even score 100 points, and we only scored 18 points in the second quarter of this game. But Norman Powell didn't shoot well, and neither did James Harden. I think that was a difference. 8 for 22 from Norm, 6 for 18 from James, 17 turnovers in the game. They were just the better team than us on this one. And you know what? I'm not tripping that hard. They've shown that they can win games without Luka this season because Kyrie is just that good. And Quentin Grimes had like 20 points. He was making every 3. And Kevin Porter Jr. had some bad defensive moments there. But I'll take the split in Dallas, no doubt about it.
Yeah, I think that's kind of the goal when you have back-to-back matchups like that. Obviously, one less players, all that kind of thing. That helps. But hey, we just saw the Lakers beat the Warriors without AD, so like that happened. So you still got to take care of business. They did. They lost the other one. Like you said, I think that it's not just the fourth quarter. It was the turnovers. It was just lack of offense. If you don't score 100 points, like, you're not winning many games in the NBA right now. So if you can't get your offense going, that's just going to be an uphill battle, especially with a team that has a decent offense with Dallas. I don't think they're the greatest or anything, but I think obviously Kyrie's a machine himself, and so can Luka be, even though he wasn't in this game. So yeah, I think you live with that. You split like that, you go with it. All right, cool. So now we have another kind of pairing here. We got the Lakers playing the Kings in 2 games, and the difference here is, though, the Lakers were able to get the W in both scenarios here. They went on the road, went to NorCal. We're up in Sacramento. No beams were lit, Dime. 113, 100, 103, 99. But I'm going to give just my general thoughts here, and then I'm going to throw it to you. In general, I think the main thing is the defense was so good in both games. Defensive attention has just risen up to a level that it's only been in little spots this season. And that's been true for the last week or so. They've kind of been a top 5, top 10 defense in defensive rating and things of that nature. And again, holding teams to barely cracking 100 points. That's how you're going to win games. And we saw more of that. We talked about AD and his defense, and that's taken a step up since we discussed it. He was just blocking everything. He was blocking Monk. He was blocking Sabonis. He was helping so much. LeBron has some chase down blocks. And again, blocks are just one very specific stat. It's discouraging points in the paint. It's eliminating points in the paint. And it's forcing players into tough shots. And they were doing that all over. I think, again, same role players we talked about. Cam had one game that was good, one that was bad. Christie's been really good overall. He's kind of shown that, at least in the short term, he's a starter. And until that doesn't work, that's probably where things are going to go. So those were some of the main things I kind of wanted to talk about there in those 2 wins. Just really impressive wins from the Lakers. Yes, the Kings are a team that's struggling. They're on the outside looking at the play-in right now. But we know the talent they have, and we know they're good at home. And they were still impressive quality wins out west. Dime, what were your biggest takeaways from Lakers Kings?
Definitely the defense that you're talking about. Max Christie, Gabe Vincent in the first game went 4 for 5 from 3. I think he's really picked it up. And D'Angelo Russell averaged 18 points in these 2 games. And when you get that from D'Lo coming off the bench, I mean, that helps the Laker team massively. LeBron was much better in that second game. AD was having a block party in that first game, but I think they both overall, contributed in positive ways to help them win games. And Austin Reaves, very solid 2 games as well, and fantastic wins. That Sabonis stuff with AD feels like a distant memory at this point. So I thought those were some 2 really solid wins, and not an easy place to get them as well, even though the Kings have lost so many home games this season. They're like one of the biggest disappointments in the league right now, the Kings.
Yeah, I think, again, when they were going on that little playoff run, when they had that series against the Warriors, I think they were overrated back then. And now I think they're a little underrated. Yeah, they're underperforming, but I'm like, they're still a good team. They just, they got to work some stuff out. And I think, I do think they'll probably squeeze into the play-in and be somewhere in contention. I don't think they stay down. But again, it's early. Well, kind of early. We're still got a long way to go. We got more basketball in front of us than behind us. So there's still time to switch it around. Every year we see a team, they were the 3 seed. Now they're like the 8 seed. That's going to happen this year too. Not sure who that'll be, but it happens every year. What were you going to say?
I was going to say that this also is the beginning of something that we're going to have to talk about in these coming, recaps. Is I noticed in that second game against Sacramento that JJ is starting to lose faith in Koloko as a backup, and he was starting to play a lot of that small ball lineup with Rui Hachimura and LeBron as like a tandem 5. And it worked out in this game. We'll talk about it a little more in that next one. I was going to say something else as well. Very good wins though overall. And yeah, I guess I got to tell you. I was going to say I went live for both of these games as well. So if you want to hear more depth and when I'm fresh, right, remembering the game, you can check those out. So I've been doing Laker lives again though, Edwin, as you've seen. I've been consistent again. I'm back to it. It feels good. And before I continue and we talk about the next game, I got to tell you a little something about DraftKings. The NBA season is back, and DraftKings is the official sports betting partner of the NBA. Who's draining threes from beyond the arc? Who's crashing the boards and grabbing rebounds? Get behind your favorite players and the prop bets you can make on DraftKings, the home of NBA player props. First time, new DraftKings customers bet $5 to get $200 in bonus bets instantly. Every point counts with DraftKings Sportsbook. Download the DraftKings Sportsbook app and use code ABTV. That's code ABTV for new customers to get $200 in bonus bets when you bet just $5. Only on DraftKings. The crown is yours. Gambling problem? Call 1-800-GAMBLER. In New York, call 877-8-HOPE-NY or text HOPE-NY 467-369. In Connecticut, help is available for problem gambling. Call 888-789-7777 or visit ccpg.org. Please play responsibly. On behalf of Boot Hill Casino and Resort in Kansas. 21 plus age and eligibility varies by jurisdiction. Void in New Hampshire, Oregon, and Ontario. Bonus bets expire 168 hours after issuance. For additional terms and responsible gaming resources, see dkng.com/bball. All right, and we know what we got next on the agenda.
Ooh, we got something that I don't like talking about, which is the Lakers losing to the Detroit Pistons. And that's what we have here. Lakers fall to the Detroit Pistons after so many kind of good vibes. 3-game winning streak. They head back home, playing a Detroit team that they lost to earlier in the season. Can they avenge that result? And the answer, unfortunately, was no. They weren't able to. They lost 117-114. And I felt like the energy after this one was kind of like 1 step forward, 2 steps back. That's kind of how the fan base felt. That's how the media, kind of the questions that were being asked. It was kind of like, here we go again. We face a semi-good team. Turnovers are going all over the place. They're having trouble with those big physical guards and wings on the perimeter. They just can't get it together. They can't get it together. That was kind of the feeling that was surrounding the team after that loss. I thought that was a little strong. Yes, it's true that they're kind of struggling to get consistency, but again, they just came off a 3-game winning streak. And I think Detroit, another team that's a little underrated. I called them good, and some people were like, they're not a good team. They're just a team that tries hard. I'm like, okay, well, maybe good's too strong, but they're a solid team. You're going to have to, especially, and again, it's about matchups. It's about this team versus this team. The things the Pistons do rather well, the Lakers have trouble with, and that's if you have big physical guards, they struggle. Christie still struggles. Austin, they're just a smaller team. You bring some big guards out there that are physical, like Cade, that's just going to be a problem for them. And it kind of proves to be true. And then you add the careless turnovers and all that. That's going to be an issue. D'Lo hurt his hand in the third quarter, didn't play the fourth quarter. Same thing, same reason why he didn't play against the Warriors. So you're missing one of your key guards. We just talked about was lighting it up. He didn't play in the fourth quarter in a game that was very close. That could have been the difference. And that's just kind of the recipe for disaster there for the Lakers. So I don't look at these losses as bad necessarily. I just look at them like, man, it'd be nice to, we were talking right now about a 5-game winning streak versus 4 out of 5, but I don't think it's, disastrous or anything. I just think it's a little frustrating. And again, it's a sign that, they have more work to do. And those are kind of my key takeaways from that. LeBron had a solid game, 28, triple-double, like you mentioned with Austin before, 28, 11, 11. Max had his best game stats-wise. He had 17 points, career high. He had 16 against the Warriors, so he was just about to match it. So he's really kind of coming into his own. And this was before Dalton kind of had that good game he had against Golden State. So he had a rough moment. And like you mentioned, no Koloko, no Traore, which means there are no bigs playing on the Lakers dime except for Anthony Davis, which is crazy. It's like, and again, it's not because, Redick's like, no, I don't like bigs or anything. It's just because there really is only two options. There are two-way guys, and it seems like he didn't feel comfortable. I asked him actually after the game about what he thought about those lineups, and we didn't see Koloko and Traore, and he kind of mentioned that, well, obviously they didn't do well because the team lost and their minutes were poor and they had a lot of turnovers. But he said from those Kings games, he did like those Rui at the 5 minutes. He wanted to try it out, see how it would look against Detroit. You saw the results. They weren't very good. I like Koloko. I think he should be getting a little more run. Traore is a little bit of a wild bull. He's kind of like just kind of getting active out there, and he's just kind of not as polished, so I'm okay with his DMPs. I don't think Koloko should have any DMPs at the moment. I think he should play, nothing crazy, 4 minutes, 8 minutes, a couple shifts to kind of, one, give AD a breather, and two, keep some kind of big on the floor. I think he's been good enough for that. But of course, Redick saw what he saw. He made a decision. And I don't think that's the reason they lost. I think there was a lot of other things. But also, they only lost by 3 points. So maybe during those Koloko minutes, if they don't fall off a cliff, maybe they do win by like 4 points. That might be the difference. We don't know. But something to watch out for sure. In the meantime, with Hayes out and Wood clearly, hasn't played all season, how much more he goes to those small ball lineups. And also, the data says now that it didn't work. So, will we see more of it the rest of this month into 2025? That's a question I definitely have. I'm going to keep an eye on.
Yeah, I think this game came down to turnovers. I went live after this one as well. 20 turnovers. Austin Reaves was extremely careless with the ball. He turned the ball over, I believe, 6 times? Yeah, 6 times by himself. Thought LeBron was pretty good. Obviously had a chance to tie the game, didn't make it. I mean, yeah. I think he was still the best player, but it feels like LeBron has had a lot of misses late in games for the Lakers. A lot.
Yeah, that was another one too that I thought he got a decent look. I was kind of happy with the shot. Obviously didn't go in, so not happy about the result. But I'm like, he got a pretty good look. I would have liked Dalton to try to get a shot at that. He was on the court for that moment. I think it's good that Redick, when he needs a 3-point shot, he's still thinking, you know what, we might as well have Dalton out there. You never know. You get a switch or something, or, someone makes a break for it. So I was happy with the play. The result I was not happy with, but there's not much more you could do with that. That's what you want. It didn't feel like a hero ball shot or anything. It felt like a good look at the basket. It just didn't go in. I do think if they would have tied it, they probably win that game in OT. But again, it didn't happen. So woulda, coulda, shoulda. The Warriors could say the same thing. Oh, if Reaves doesn't make that, we probably win. Well, that's not what happened. So you got to take the L there. Shout out to the Pistons, man. They play a hard game. Dime. I'm wondering, in general, right now, the way the team is, the way the Lakers are you happy with the rotation, how things are going? Do you want more Koloko? Is there anything from maybe the top 7, 8 guys that you want switched up, difference in the starting lineup, first off the bench, things of that nature?
I think I agree with you that Koloko shouldn't get DNPs. He should get some minutes. But that's about it. I think the Lakers roster is just, it's okay. You miss Vanderbilt. He's taking up $10 million in the salary. Wood, of course, but I'd say more Vando, just to see how that looks. This game was an interesting one, though. I mean, D'Lo didn't really give you anything off the bench. And then Anthony Davis, I thought he was a little on the more timid side this game.
Same.
Yeah, he just didn't feel like that dominating AD. It felt like he was just setting screens. So I don't know. You'd hope he's not That injury seemed new, right? The ankle was that.
Yeah, that was
Yeah.
new. That was new.
So I don't know. That was a weird one for him. I definitely think that was part of the reason that you guys lost. But also, as you said, the matchup with the Pistons, for whatever reason, their speed, their athleticism, it really takes advantage of the Lakers in transition, and
They
especially
bully
when
them, Dime. They just they get physical. They get in that jersey. They get in that shirt.
true,
They're
they were making Lakers uncomfortable with their ball pressure, their speed, their athleticism. It's a young team, and they took advantage of the Laker turnovers. And I wouldn't say ran about the gym because it was a 3-point game, but were really pushing the pace on them and taking advantage of their mistakes.
Well, they dictated control. That's the thing. The game, it was their game. You're gonna play the way I like to play, and if you're gonna beat me, you're gonna beat me playing the way I want to play. And the Lakers, two things the Lakers couldn't do. They couldn't switch that up to something they wanted to do, and they couldn't keep up with them like that. They struggled, and they were still in it. They fought through, and props to them. I asked, I think it was I asked Austin about that. Kind of, it was again the mood in the media room was just very, very negative. And I'm like, yeah, I get it. Obviously, if they lost, I don't want you guys to pat everybody on the back on the loss. But I'm also like, hey, they fought hard. And I kind of asked them about they were down 10 with 3 minutes left, and they stayed in the game. They could have totally said, you know what, we're just gonna let them shoot an open three. It's gonna be 13 points. Reddick can take us all out, and we'll get ready for Christmas. But they fought in that game, and they stayed in that game. They could have packed it up with under 4 minutes to go, and they didn't. They fought back, they rallied back, they stayed in it. So I kind of asked Austin about that, and again he was still kind of like, well, we still lost, so kind of who cares? But also yeah, we're not gonna quit. We're not. That's not our attitude. We're gonna keep fighting, and we kept fighting, and it's good that we did, but we fell short. So I still don't feel good about it, but yes, you're right. It was good that we fought through, and I think that's the one thing. That's probably the only bright spot besides some role players that kind of had good games. I think Gabe had a pretty good game there, and so did Christie. I think the other positive is, hey, they didn't give up. They didn't pack it up. They could have lost by 15, and instead they fought to the end and almost stole it, but they didn't. So Pistons took care of it. All right, Dime, we're going back to Clipperland here. We got them beating up on the Teddy Bears, 114-110. I'm just not a fan of the Grizzlies, so I'm always happy when they lose games, even if the Clippers are also not my favorite team necessarily. 114-110. Tell me about this one here. Why were the Clippers able to win on the road?
I think this was our best win of the season, Edwin, because how good how well the Memphis Grizzlies have been playing.
Yeah, they've been a good team.
And the resilience that we showed, one thing that the Clippers have this season, and it just really sticks out when you watch teams like the Lakers. And I know you guys have been playing better defense lately, but we still have had the other 25 or so games. And then you have teams like the Kings and the Pacers on the Eastern Conference that started out the season so disappointingly. Just being a great defensive team keeps you in games, even if your offense isn't good or your shot's not falling. And our offense isn't good right now without Kawhi. It's average. It's a little below average. But we stay in every game no matter what kind of opponent we play. So we have the Chris Dunns. We have the Derrick Jones Jr. We have the Zubac's. And, the big three were great again. Can you believe we're talking about a big three with the Clippers right now? And Kawhi's not involved in it? Harden, Norman, Zoo. 20 points and 19 rebounds to go along with 4 steals and a block on 10 for 18 shooting in 40 minutes for Big Zoo. He did it in the post. He was drop stepping and dunking on dudes. Jaren Jackson Jr. was getting thrown in the rim. Yeah, go ahead.
I love Magic, but I'll never forgive him for getting rid of Zoo for a pack of pinto beans.
What would it take to forgive a guy who's literally changed the franchise forever and is, the most iconic athlete in the city probably ever? You know what I'm saying? He's already paid his dues.
He did, but he really that era. I'm glad
that was won a championship before us, though. Did you not?
Yeah.
Zoo's fantastic, though. I get it. But how do you think you feel bad about Zoo? How do you think I feel about SGA? And we didn't get a championship.
That's true. That's true. Yeah.
I think Charlotte felt about watching Kobe. Kobe for 3. Joel Myers. Remember Joel Myers? He's out here with the Pelicans now.
Oh my God, that was hilarious.
Yo, what do you think? Random question. What do you think about the criticism I've seen my boy CL Owens have of Stu Lance he's not as he's too neutral these days. He says he's not even rooting for the Lakers anymore. I've never heard that complaint, Edwin.
No, I
Local
love
guys
that.
being too much of a non-homer. I've never heard that.
Look, as a guy who eats lunch regularly with Stu and
Okay, nice subtle
flex.
there.
I'm exaggerating. I mean, we sit at the same table. It's kind of like school lunch, you know. But as a guy who hangs out around Stu a lot, like I love how Stu does things, and I'm glad he's honest. You know, he'll. It's good that, and it's good and healthy. You know, we talk about stuff here all the time, and I always say it like. I say the good, I say the bad, I say it honest. You know, you might disagree, but you know I'm coming from it's true. I'm not hiding something, or I'm like, ooh, what if LeBron's mad because I said he played bad? I'm like, I'll be honest too. Like I have to be. Like that's the job. Just call it like you see it. And I'm so glad that Spectrum is a company that allows them to do that, and they don't get taken to the back and being like, you can't say that about no, like let them be honest. As long as they're not like going some disrespectful line. Yeah, be like, you know what? Oh, they're being lousy, or oh, they're not being aggressive. Like it's totally cool. I want that, because when we're rocking, it's all happy. Billy Mack's doing, oh, you look out below and all that stuff, and it's great. But hey, it's not always like that, especially with a team that has had some rough spells. So I'm okay with it. I'm all for it. I don't think it crosses any lines.
Okay, you don't think he crosses any lines. I personally don't think so either. My uncle's adamant that the reason why he's like that is because Chick was brutally honest about the Lakers when things were going bad. And like,
Chick was way more aggressive,
Exactly. And here's the thing too. We also have to think about like the grand scheme of things. The Lakers have seen some worse days than this for sure. But if you look at Stu Lance's entire tenure as a Laker color commentator, he's mostly seen a lot better as well. You know what I mean? And he's older now. And also this is very clear. And I'm surprised you've never mentioned this before, but I think because Stu's such a legend, you don't. But I don't think it's anything negative, because you are a little more understanding about this. But like, I think it's very clear Stu's not a huge fan of the way basketball is played anymore.
Probably.
I mean, now let me say that you haven't noticed. Pay attention to this from the rest of the season. I swear to you, he makes comments about the threes, and the tone of his voice is so fed up with it. Now, he doesn't say anything, but see, the people like Stu Lance that have been around the game and seen it change literally from the first row or whatever, the commentator's booth for decades, they're literally the best people to talk about when it comes to these conversations everybody's having online. Like, it's just like people just aren't educated enough with that topic, and those color commentators that have been front row for all these years, even the play-by-play guys, I think those are the best people to talk about with those kind of topics.
Yeah, I would say I'm not going to speak too much about because I actually, although I was kind of exaggerating with we have lunch together. I do actually talk to Stu like a decent amount, like, and I'm not going to kind of reveal when I ask him questions. It's pretty cool. I can be like, hey, what do you think about Memphis? And we're watching the game. It's up there at the, in the media room while we're eating. He'll be like, oh yeah, I like blah, blah, blah. Or like, oh yeah, no, they're not any good. Oh, you knew they were going to lose this game. Stuff like that. But yeah, I think what your assumption is probably pretty fair. I've never really talked to him about like, hey, what do you think about today's game? But when he talks about like flaws teams had, when he talks about the old days, I even mentioned to him, and there's another guy who was there. I forgot who he was. I think he was kind of new because, half the people are regulars and half are like the other teams, whatever people, right? Like any kind of NBA game. And dude was a little older than me. They kept calling me kid. That's how I knew he was older than me. I'm like, I only get called kid by people who are older. I'm like, hey, I'm kind of grown, I'm a grown adult. And he's like, nah, you're a kid. And then I was talking about Celtics, Lakers, and how I still hate the Lakers. He's like, what do you know about that? I'm like, what are you talking about? Like, I saw this. He's like, no, we saw the 80s. We saw like, we saw when they were.
You're talking about Stewart, the other guy you said.
The other guy, and then Stu was like, yeah. He was like nodding in agreement, and he's like, no, we saw the real like the beef when it was like you just saw like Kobe and like Paul Pierce. That's nothing compared to these guys. They were going, and they were talking glowingly, which I'm sure you'd like. And Stu agreed. He was kind of more just nodding his head. The other gentleman was talking about how, but Larry Bird was such a killer, man. Best trash talker. He could back it up. He was hitting threes all up in their faces, and they're like jawing at each other. He's like, that was a rivalry. Now you guys don't have that. I'm like, all right, calm down, buddy. But yeah, so given those kind of conversations, that's kind of a little peek behind the curtain. That kind of stuff happens all the time. And yeah, Stu, for me, keep doing what you're doing, Stu. I hear the same. It's funny. I don't really hear too much the Stu's negative, but I hear Billy Mack's too positive. And I'm like, guys, that's why they're the perfect pairing. One's a little bright, one's a little dark. Like they're together. You get the full perspective. Like I want both of them to just keep doing it how they're doing it, keep rocking it. And man, whoever ever takes over for those two, tough shoes to fill for both.
Yeah,
It's gonna be tough. It's gonna be tough.
I'm never gonna say anything bad about Billy Mack anymore after I met him and I realized how big of a Laker fan he really is. He's living the dream. I can't hate, and he can be too positive all he wants. He's such a big fan of the Lakers that I can't even hate anymore. Like,
and like I said, I think it balances out.
If you're that much big of a fan and you've been a fan your whole life and you're living the dream like that, by all means, like, fan out.
Yeah, I think that they have. I would have to really watch every commentator to kind of pair them. I think they're in the top whatever, top 5, top 7, top 10. I still think New York's got a really, really good broadcast there. I'd probably give them number 1 with off the top of my head. But Stu and Billy Mack, they're up there, man. They're really good. And like I said, they balance each other out. Stu's a little more negative. Billy's kind of just hoping for the win and calling the highlights. It kind of works well. You get a nice perspective, in my opinion. And then, of course, we got the GOAT, Mike Trudell, doing the sideline reporting and all that. So come on. It's a great, and again, he's informative. Mike knows basketball more than he's a sicko. Like, he watches more basketball than anybody.
Really? Okay. I love that.
I'll tell you, I'll share this one story with you. One, he's deep. I'll share a couple stories. Hopefully Mike doesn't get mad. But one, he's crazy into fantasy basketball. So he like really knows the game because he's like studying it at that level. And he's like a basketball like freak. I've seen him watch 2 games at the same time, like fully focused. I saw him once. I think it was Lakers Clippers pregame, right? It's Lakers Clippers pregame. We're waiting for Darvin Ham to come out and speak, but he's taking a little longer than usual, right? He's supposed to be there at 5:45. It's like 5:50. He hasn't shown up. And someone comes by and let us know, hey, he's running a little late, like 5 more minutes. And we're like, okay, cool. And when we got that notice, Mike's the first person who asks questions and all that. He pulls out his phone and starts watching whatever game is happening. And I'm like, Mike, you're about to ask the questions for you get 5 extra minutes, and your thoughts like, hey, let me see what's going on with Pistons Spurs real quick. And I'm like, this guy is different, man. And yeah, he's as locked in as anybody. I don't think you'd have to really try to watch more basketball than him because he's into it. He's into all of it. Yeah, it's crazy.
That's amazing to hear. And I mean, as great as Mike Trudell is, he ain't no Christina Pink.
Well, that is true. They are different people.
They're different.
They are different people. All right, cool. Any other comments you want to do with Memphis, or should we get to the schedule we have coming up?
I'll just say that Norman Powell had another very good game. 29 points on 50% shooting from the field and 3. And then James Harden, 21 points, 8 rebounds, 9 assists. And I want to mention, Clippers are 10-0 when James Harden shoots 10 or more free throws.
That's a great stat, actually. That's interesting. Okay, so when he's more aggressive, getting to the line.
And when he's getting calls.
Yeah, well, calls are a little...
Edwin, this guy gets a 3-point foul every single game he plays. That's not hyperbole. He literally gets, I think he almost averages 1 foul on a 3 per game. It's ridiculous. Like the way he does, he kicks his legs out, exaggerates. Any little contact on his wrist or arm he gets, he makes it known. I mean, he has a technique. He also just like lulls defenders in, then steps back and they lunge forward, and he finds a way. But yeah.
Yeah, man, it's something he's good at. All right, cool. Let's go ahead and look here. It's a weird, actually, normally, Dime, we have these conversations off air, but since we're here, how are we going to do this? We're having a late podcast. Usually we try Monday, Tuesday. Obviously it's Thursday, but there was a holiday, so we weren't going to jump on a call before or after. Didn't make sense. We did it right after on Thursday. How are we doing next week? Are we doing like a Tuesday pod? Are we doing a Wednesday? What are you thinking?
Well, let's see. So the Clippers schedule is game on Monday and Tuesday. Are we going New Year's? What's the Lakers schedule next week?
Lakers schedule, we'll go through it point by point later, but real quick, they got a game on New Year's Eve, and then they're off until the 2nd.
Okay, so we should probably do New Year's Day pod on a Wednesday night, right?
Okay, I'll drink my water, but sure.
Yeah, I mean, I don't have any like school is still not back for the kids, so I don't have any obligations there. I don't have a practice on a Wednesday night, so like no Clipper game, no Laker game. I think that's the night. New Year's Day.
Cool. New Year's Day. Who else starts on the 1st? Only us, baby. All right, cool. I love it. All right, cool. So that also lets me know what games we should be previewing right now. Okay, cool. So first game we have coming up is the Clippers. Golden State has to go from losing to the Lakers to facing the Clippers on the road here in Los Angeles. Into it, a 7 o'clock NBA TV, national TV game. Dime. Do the Clippers whoop on the Warriors again? I don't know if Steph's going to play. That's the other thing too. So
whether or not he plays, I think we're going to beat them. We've had their number this year, 2-0 against them so far this season. Let's make it 3-0.
Yeah,
I'll be there. By the way, we can get the vlog number 12.
Nice. Can't be the Clippers in the Palace, the fortress, as you call it, the fortress. They got it. So I'm with you.
8 straight wins when yours truly is in attendance at home.
That's crazy. That's crazy. Yeah, that's a great stat. Another great stat. So if you're there and Harden gets 10 free throws, it's a wrap. It's a wrap.
Right.
Keep an eye on that at halftime, how many free throws Harden has, because if Dime's in attendance and he's hitting those free throws or getting those free throws, it's going to be a done deal. All right, so that's Friday's game. We both have a W for the Clippers. On Saturday, oh my God, I can't wait to be done with this team. The Lakers play the Kings again, this time in Los Angeles. 7:30 start. It's going to be on Spectrum. Dime, I mean, they've played each other so many times in like the last week and a half or so. What happens in this next installment of Lakers Kings?
Lakers Kings at Staples Center. I'm going to go with the Lakers.
This one makes me nervous. It's hard to beat a team like 3 times in like 6 days or whatever it is, but I'm going to go Lakers as well. It makes me nervous. I'm just like, they're going to get one eventually. So hopefully it's not this one. I'm sick of this streak. Like the last time I felt sick of playing a team like this was Phoenix early in the season, because they played them like twice in preseason and like twice in the regular season. I'm like, how many matchups against the Suns we're going to have? So I'm feeling like that with the Clippers. So with the Kings. So get the win and let's be done with them for a little while. All right. After that, we have Monday night action. We have the Clippers playing the New Orleans Pelicans on the road, 5 o'clock. How are the Clippers going to do, Dime, in NOLA?
Let's get a win. The New Orleans Pelicans are broken and battered. That would then be just, I guess, 3 wins in a row there. But I believe that would be 5 wins out of the last 6 games if we get that done, and we beat the Warriors as well. So I'm going to go with beating the Pels. Yeah,
I think the same thing. The Pels are they're done. They're done. They're cooked. Just I don't even know what the plan is there. I would honestly, if I was in charge of the Pels, I'm selling the farm and I'm starting over. Clearly, BI I don't think is coming back. Zion probably can't trade him at this point with the contract and with just being down right now. You're not going to get anywhere near value, but they're a mess. That's unfortunate. It's an unfortunate situation there. They went from like a promising team to like, last year they were competing hard in the play-in, and you're like, oh, what if Zion didn't get hurt? But hasn't that been the story the whole time there? So yeah, bummer for the Pels, but they're I'm going to go with the Clippers as well. Okay, cool. And next we have on, actually, is that next? Yes, it is. Next on New Year's Eve, we have the Lakers playing the Cleveland Cavaliers in Los Angeles, 6 o'clock start. Dime, who do you have? Lakers, Cavs.
I'm going with the Cavs, bro.
Yeah, I don't like the New Year's Eve game. I just have a feeling that they're not going to be healthy for that one. So I just think your mind's just wondering about all the other stuff going on. It's not a good game night to have a basketball game. And then the Cavs are so good, right? Like they're so good. So just not a recipe for success there. All right, and also on New Year's Eve we have Clippers at Spurs playing Wemby. What happens on that one, Dime?
Honestly, I'm going to go with them winning because it's on the second out of a back-to-back.
Who's them?
San Antonio.
Okay, got it.
Yeah, we've been playing good ball. I feel like we're due for a loss. I'll take 19 and 14 through 33 games. Absolutely.
19-14 sounds really good. Yeah, I'm going to go with the same thing. I think that the Spurs are going to get that one. Hungry team. They're going to go after it. Second out of a back-to-back. It just makes sense to me. Okay, cool. So we'll go with that. All right, that is all the games we'll talk about then, because the January games won't happen before we record. So we'll be able to kind of reset and then get a full slate of games there. All right, Dime, that's the final episode of 2024. Basketball is weird because I think of our season, like how the season actually is. But then it's a year and it's like there's a couple of different like markers. But 2024, man, all done. So I'm so excited. The pod's been so good. I think it's getting better each time. And next year, I haven't set my goals for this pod, but we're gonna go off. I'm gonna be doing more clips. I'm gonna be like really like pushing. We're gonna get this pod as high as it can go, and I'm really excited about it. So thanks, man. It's been a blast doing this pod with you. Every week we've been killing it, and it's only gonna go up from here, man. So I'm looking forward to it. So all right, that's the end of episode 55 of Basketball on Figueroa. Once again, I am Edwin Garcia. That was / is Tarian Vaziri, aka Dime Dropper, and we out.